Welcome to Maria Alejandra Off Topic, the podcast about the non-musical things around music. I am Maria Alejandra Jimenez, violinist, musician, and writer. Off Topic is more than just a podcast, it's a platform featuring articles, essays, and a free newsletter that explores this universe. Subscribe so you don't miss any content and visit the website mariaalejandrajimenez.com. That's Jimenez with a J and a Z. Also, subscribe on your favorite audio platform so you don't miss any episode. Our guest today is Anni Kallioniemi. After years of performing as a cellist across Europe while also running social media pages for musicians, she decided to bring both worlds together. Now, from her base in Budapest, she helps artists and music professionals grow their online presence and on-stage audiences with more social media strategies and websites that actually work. As a musician herself, she knows exactly what it takes to build the courage to start self-promoting, discover your audience, and grow a personal brand, and confidently show up as your authentic self. Now, on a more personal note, how do I know her? Well, she's one of my favorite people on Instagram, and since I discovered her work, she became my reference when it comes to showing up online, going beyond just the numbers, or engaging with random trends. She insists on the fact that our right audiences and our real community happens only when we are genuine, and we manage to show all those things on our channels as well. And today, of course, we are going to talk about social media, but also I want to get to know Anni a little bit more because I know she has a lot of different interests. So welcome, Anni. How are you?
Thank you so much. Oh, that introduction was so sweet. Thank you. Oh, I'm really good. It's nice to be visiting your podcast, and yeah, everything's great.
Amazing. And yeah, the first thing I ask all the guests is if they have a recommendation. So do you have any recommendation to share that can be really like anything, just anything that you have been enjoying lately, book, movies, a place
Yes.
to visit, whatever you would like to share?
I'm doing a book challenge this year, so I'm trying to read more and more books because I love reading, but because of my job as a social media manager, I spend a lot of time staring at screens. So what I'm trying to do this year is to do a little bit less of scrolling, especially when it's aimless scrolling with no purpose,
Yeah.
and read a little bit more books. And one of the books that I want to recommend, and I always recommend this to musicians, it's called The Hero and the Outlaw by Margaret and Carol S. Pearson. And the book is about building extraordinary brands through the power of archetypes. So basically in the book, there's 12 archetypes based on the Carl Jung archetype theory, like lover, hero, creator, and so on. And with this book, I feel like a lot of musicians can find maybe their own brand voice and things that could fit them really well, and kind of take advantage of what naturally comes to them, what comes to personality, expression, communication. So this book is something that I always recommend for musicians when they're thinking about maybe starting an online presence or building a website or something. So that I think is a great starting point for someone who's a bit geeky like me who wants to sort of discover different options, how to express yourself.
That's amazing. Actually, I will definitely read that because lately I've been also reading about this 12 Jungian archetype. And last year, when I decided to start this project, I actually wrote down a bit what are the archetypes that I wanted to show. But I didn't read anything in depth. I don't know, I found just a list online and I was just having fun around it. I wanted to ask you, what is your archetype?
I feel like it's a bit of a complicated question.
Yeah.
I think my main archetype definitely is the every woman. I kind of want to seem online like I'm someone who is easy to contact. You can always send me a message, comment. I always reply to everything. I'm not on a high horse or an ivory tower at all. I'm a normal person, just like everybody else, and that's kind of what I feel like has resonated in my audience the best.
Yeah.
I've tried a few different things. I also do my meme Wednesdays, memes
Yeah.
days, where I post classical music memes, where I use more humor. Not only humor, also I think memes can be sort of a way to communicate also difficult topics and issues that we have in the industry. So it's not only about having a laugh. However, I do use that kind of humorous side as well on my Instagram. But I would say that my main archetype is definitely the every woman, and it's something that when I was younger, I struggled with a little bit. That am I too boring or too basic, or am I just not special enough? But as I get older, I feel like I realized that kind of calmness and relatability and sort of being able to connect with a lot of different kind of people can also be a really good strength.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I still, as I say, have to go a bit more in depth with that, but I think I am a blend of two archetypes. I think probably the most evident one is the innocent. That's really like quite evident. I think also I chose color yellow for my brand, so
Yes.
it's part of it. And the other one is, I don't know exactly the name in English. I think it's something like the witch or something like this.
Yeah. Is it what
Uh,
is it now?
I will have a look
The
after, but yeah,
Yes,
the
yes.
kind that David
I
Bowie
also
type.
forgot it in English. Yeah. Let me check from the book if I can find it, what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's I think with all of these things, it's always important to, like you said, have that your own special
mhm,
blend that you are, because
yeah,
none of us is like, also we are maybe different as
100%.
people, different as musicians, maybe different as, everyday life people. So, but I think it works best when you're like really true to your core values and who you truly are inside.
Yeah.
Then it's sort of like comes naturally, so you don't have to. But I love actually your branding with the innocent, with this. Is it sage also? I think one of the terms is sage that they use for the innocent, where
The
you have
sage,
also the
yeah,
delicate
I think it's that
flower.
one. Yeah,
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 yeah.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, and they have I think this magician. They also,
No, it's
and
not
at
true.
least
It's
in
not
this
the
book it's
sage.
called the
It will be the
magician.
mix between innocent and the magician. That's the mix. Yes,
Magician,
yes.
yes. Because what I love about the magician, and I think it's in a lot of musicians, they can use the magician also, where it's
Yeah.
like transformations and like strange sounds and sort of like this, how you can like turn a moment super magical with
Yeah.
your presence and your art and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot to explore there. So definitely recommend these books for
Yeah, I
everyone.
will read it. When I read it, I will let you know. And I will also
Yes,
maybe
great.
share about it. Amazing. And what
Yeah.
is your first memory associated with music?
When I was a young child, I was always singing. I remember, I think I was about 3. I did my first performance. There was like a dating show in Finland in the 90s. I was born in 1989. So in the 90s, there was this dating show in Finland called called Bullseye. So they were looking for people to go on a holiday with, and this announcer for this dating show was like super famous in Finland. And for some reason, he was visiting my small town. And then I don't know how, but I ended up going on stage and singing happy birthday to him. I don't know if it was his birthday, but that's what I did anyway. And I just remember like feeling super thrilled. And I was quite young, 3 or 4, but I can remember like being on stage and feeling like super energized and happy. And I felt like I wanted to do that. And then later on, I started to play different instruments like guitar, piano, like which we had home. And then when I was 6, I started to play the cello. And now I have a 5-year-old daughter who also plays the cello. And I see a lot of myself in her, which is really nice now to realize that kind of energy and enthusiasm, what starts as a young child towards music, and then how to kind of support that and how to keep that eager, creativity alive without being too like as classical musicians, which is part of one of the topics you like to cover as well. Like we tend to go too much maybe inside and with this one sort of one style or one form of expression. So I'm trying my best to not kill that creativity because it's really, really fun to watch. And I feel like I also had that as a child, and that those are my earliest memories, like being really excited about music and loving it and singing all the time. And yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. I totally agree. I know some classical musicians that are really like 100% classical musicians, but that's not my case. And it took me a lot of time to accept also that I wanted to express myself in different ways. And also this is why I created this project, because I think that it's a very common experience for musicians to want to express themselves in different ways and feeling like it's not, you shouldn't do that because it's a loss of time, or you are doing things away your instrument and it's not good. And it's a pity, because I think that those things, they don't take things away from you as a musician. It's the opposite. They add more depth and layers to what you do as a musician. And
I agree. And I think one of the biggest fears I had when I was younger, again, was that if I have a break from playing the cello, I will lose something. Like I will lose my skills, I will lose my connections, I will lose possibilities. But then a few times in my career, I've been forced to have a break. Like, for example, when I had a hand injury a few years ago, I had to take like 3 months off, and it was surprising to me to notice how quickly you actually get back in shape, even after a serious injury, because it's so, you've done those 10,000 hours of work, it's all in your brain. And especially when I started to have more like a positive mindset about music and performing, I guess, and sort of life in general, that being a musician is part of my life. It's not all my life. So I feel like it was always easier than now to go back to, because even now I have a quite long period of maybe not playing so many concerts, and then like at the moment I'm playing quite a lot, and then kind of balancing between having longer breaks. And when I was younger, I was really afraid of having breaks, but now I realize that having breaks is not going to,
I
be
can
the end of your
confirm,
career for sure.
for the people that is listening, that they're like, oh my god, long breaks, scary as hell, I can confirm that you go back in shape quite quick, because I also took quite long breaks in my life. And I always came back on shape, no problem, no tragedy happened. So yeah, it's everything is all right. Yes. And I wanted to
Exactly.
ask you also, what is your first memory associated with social media?
Oh God. So as I said, I'm born in the 80s. So when I was growing
Yeah.
up, social media didn't really exist yet as it is today. We had like local social medias in Finland, and then I was using internet reality chat, which was like a chat, no pictures or anything. You just kind of chatted with people. MySpace, building your own websites. And then later on, like early stages of Facebook, Instagram. And then I always was quite interested in it, like just as a sort of format of self-expression, I guess. Like I like to write like, song lyrics or poems or something in my pictures and stuff. And like I always found it, and I loved doing like Photoshop my pictures and stuff like this when I was younger, for Facebook and Instagram and the earlier ones, MySpace and so on. And then later, when I was studying music, I already was in my master's studies. I lived in Copenhagen, and it's an expensive city, and I needed some, money for rent and to be able to like afford living there. So I just actually found a job from Facebook, which was to do marketing for a secondhand fashion website in Denmark. And I applied for the job because I knew that would be something that I would probably do quite easily on the side of studying and doing concerts and gigs and stuff. So when I started that, I started to be more sort of strategic with my social media. I learned a lot about, different social media platforms, and also how to deal with search engines and websites, newsletter marketing, and so on. And as I was working for this company, I started to quickly adapt those skills with my music career, and also not only for my own concerts and my own self-promotion, let's say, but also I started to work for music festivals and different clients who needed someone to deal with their website or deal with their social media. So that was like kind of like a natural development from sort of being very interested. And actually the first website I ever did was a Harry Potter themed Hogwarts website that I did for my classmates. I must have been like maybe 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So I did this like website, and then it was actually like a chat where I could chat with my friends, but they were like wizards, and I don't even know if I could do it right now, but I did that in early 2000s. I loved it. I always was really interested in coding and those kind of things. So yeah.
That is so cool. And I think I am from the late 90s. I'm from the 97. But I was born in Venezuela. I grew up in Venezuela, so I feel like there are things were a bit slower than in the rest of the world. So a lot of my childhood and early teenager years were very 90s still. And I also remember when internet appeared. I remember like the very first things that appeared and how surprised I was about everything. And also, one of my very first memories I have of social media was also creating my own websites. It started as an assignment from school. We had to do like a blog on Blogspot about a random topic. I don't even remember about what. And then I loved it so much that I decided to create my own blog. And I started just writing about music, about the books I was reading. And I even also learned how to code back then, that right now I cannot do it anymore. But because I wanted to put it was very maximalist everything. So I wanted to put some stuff in the website that you could do only by coding. And very similar to you. And I always loved, I don't know if I love social media as they are today. I have a lot of, like, I approach it in a kind of critical way, like trying to be very conscious of how I use it. But I really love communicating things to people, and internet is amazing for that because you can connect with so many people everywhere in the world, and it's amazing.
Yes, I just wanted to also add that I feel like for a long time, these two worlds were completely separate for me.
Yeah.
So there was the internet life, there was like blogs and websites and all those kind of things that existed just online. And then there was my music studies, music career, and it was quite late when those two started to merge to each other. And like you said in my introduction, even later I decided to like kind of consciously start combining these two things, because I feel like for a long time, kind of it took a while before classical musicians and music organizations really started to like use social media as a tool to promote for concerts, tool to get new audiences to join, tools to inform people. I feel like this happened only in the past 10 years or so, whereas social media has been, let's say, 20 years around, and some other, like for example popular music or film industry or whatever, have like always been using all media to promote things. So I feel like, especially when I started this Instagram account and my own business, it was nearly 3 years ago, I guess now. Nearly 3 years ago. I feel like there were not so many doing what I do now, but I feel like in these 3 years things have changed a lot, and I feel like the change has been for better. That the people are much more sort of taking that chance and showing up and going for it, which I of course love to see.
Very nice. And I wanted to ask you, because you talk quite a lot about it on your Instagram, and I love when you talk about it. How did you cope with all these changes that happened in your life, all these new things that were like this contact with social media, and because I feel like that was also my case for musicians, when suddenly an interest that you have outside of music start to become important and you start to dedicate more time on it. It's kind of difficult to deal with your own identity because you have to kind of merge the different things. How was it for you, this process?
Well, at first, because I started to do these kind of things more or less 10 years ago, more professionally, marketing things more professionally about 10 years ago. And like I said, even back then, everything was very separate. Everything was also done a little bit secretly. I wasn't really like shouting it from the rooftops that I also do marketing. I wanted to identify as a cellist first. I wanted to be, if I introduced myself, I would say like I work in an orchestra. It was like a big part of my self-esteem and identity that this is what I am, this is who I am, and this is how I get praise, and this is how I get admiration and acceptance from not only from like any people on the street, but from other musicians. And I think in the early steps that I took towards coming more out with this other side of my career, I feel that I have one friend who always saw the potential, and who always saw my sort of like she's a lovely violinist called Linda Suolahti. Hey Linda, if you're listening.
Hi,
and
Linda.
I feel like she was one of the people who really was just like, just go for it, and you're amazing, and you just and I think because she's a freelancer musician as well, I think she can see that in others also, that like it's good to have a wide skill set, and once I started to do it, I realized that wow, what a sort of what a shame that I only do it now. Like why would I why did I hide it so long? But also I must mention it that when I started it, it was during the pandemic. I had a baby 5 years ago, and obviously, like for any musician, that time was very hard because all our concerts were canceled. We had to kind of reinvent ourselves in many ways. And because I became a parent at the same time when this kind of calendar emptying happened, I had a lot of time to think and also kind of reconsider my values. Because previously I had a very sort of busy lifestyle where I was touring a lot. I was on abroad a lot, playing concerts, playing with the orchestra, playing chamber music everywhere. And with the small child, this is a hard lifestyle to maintain.
Yeah.
Especially in our case, because we don't have like family here in Budapest. We are both immigrants or expats here, so we don't really have like at the time we didn't have like that support. So I also wanted to sort of match my lifestyle with the life situation that I had at the time. So it was a big change, and it definitely was not easy. But now that I look at it in retrospect, I feel like I'm happy that I took that time, and that's also what I tell to my clients who are sometimes struggling with timelines and feeling like maybe I'm not ready yet to do something. Sometimes it's better to wait that you are ready. You will feel it in your body or mind or somewhere where you're like, okay, now it's the time. Because if you force something, it can be really like hurtful to your sort of soul if you like throw yourself into the cold water without, like, you have to take that step at some point. But I think it was a good thing for me to kind of digest it for a few years before I finally did it. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. These changes are not easy, but I think once you see these kind of people around you who have these kind of multi-passionate careers, freelancer careers, and sort of off-topic jobs as well, and you see these people, and as at least for, like you mentioned before, that they are these kind of 100% musicians who we tend to admire, who we think like, wow, they're amazing, and they do this and they tour, and they are like every week in a different city, different program. That's amazing, and they completely deserve that admiration. But I think the longer I have lived, the more I find admiration in those who kind of juggle a lot of
Mm.
different balls at the same time. And also I have a lot more respect for myself now that I have created a career for myself, and also while simultaneously being a musician, but also doing other things that I'm interested in. So yeah.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I find very interesting this insight on taking the time that you need to do things. And this is something also that I learned over the time. It's difficult, I think, to find the balance because I feel like you never feel 100% ready, but at the same time, forcing it when you're really not ready at all is not good. And this is something that I also learned in my life, that as long as I'm taking little steps and I'm not like stuck completely, I have to trust that things are going to happen when they have to happen. And sometimes that can take a bit of time. And I think it's very important to acknowledge that. So yeah,
Yes.
I find that insight very beautiful. Yeah.
And also I feel like when I started my Instagram account, and it was scary in the beginning, and I was feeling like, oh, why am I doing this and who cares, and I found it that I told myself that as long as I'm giving some sort of value to people that they want, they need, or they are saving things or liking or whatever, that there's some value in it, that it's not just in vain. It's not just like, oh, look at me. I felt that it was like my safety blanket, that oh, there's lots of valuable information here on my Instagram. But now, like I said, 3 years almost has passed now, and I also think that you can offer that value all you want, but at the end of the day, people are following you because of you as a person as well. So finding that balance of how much do you want to share of your either as a musician or business owner or podcast host, or whoever you are in this online space, I feel like it's so important to check those boundaries every now and then. Like, am I still? Do I still feel like these things are private? Would I be open to opening up about that topic or so on? Because I feel like in the past couple of months I felt very private, and I felt like I don't really want to kind of show so much vulnerability or those things, because sometimes I do very personal posts as well, but in a while I haven't felt like that. But I feel like now I slowly start to feel like maybe I could like show up again a little bit more, but I feel like those quiet moments, those kind of moments where you're not that comfortable being online, sharing things or whatever, it's part of life. Like forcing it I don't think it's worth it, you know. And
I
like
totally agree.
with the practicing or playing your instrument, you can have breaks and go back. Just with social media as well, you can have breaks. You can have slow paces. You can have quiet moments and go back. It's not going to, you know, disappear in 1 month or whatever if you need a little detox.
Totally. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, this is also why, for example, for this podcast, it's years that I wanted to do a podcast. The moment was not happening. Until it happened, it was very clear for me, okay, this is the moment. And then I was thinking, how do I do it? Because I cannot record an episode every week forever. This is something that is not going to work. I know that if I do that in 2 months, it's over. So I actually decided to do it seasonal and record the full seasons, because I realized that goes better with my lifestyle, and that's also more gentle with myself, because, for example, these 3 weeks I've been only recording episodes, and I know that it's my podcast season and I focus on that. And I think it's very important to acknowledge a bit that life is cyclical, that we are not always in the same place all the time, and that's also okay.
I feel like as artists also, the line between personal and professional gets blurred a lot. We work with our friends. We work with our friends are our audience. We play music by our composer friends, and everything's sort of like super blurred. And we often like have family who are musicians or artists, or we marry people who are also musicians, so or our children are playing music as well. So everything kind of blends into this like weird everyone is an artist sort of ball. And when social media comes to picture, I feel like a lot of musicians have this idea of like, oh, but that has to be like super professional. But when we try to do that super professional, it becomes super generic, and it's hard to kind of stand out when the personality is totally blended out from that. So I feel like finding that balance of, okay, what topics fit in my, whether it's your brand archetype that you're thinking of, or your strategy, your pillars, your themes that you're talking about on your social media. Are you solely going to be doing instrumental content, or are you going to talk to the camera? Are you going to what is the thing that you're going to do? So I think that's one of the things that musicians should think about, that what is that your thing that you're going to be doing, because just kind of randomly appearing every now and then is not really going to maybe move the needle for your career. But having a good strategy can move big things for you if you kind of find the right people and audience, like it has for myself, for example. Obviously my content is not solely about me being a cellist, but I still play a lot of concerts because of Instagram, because people probably remember me from Instagram, even though I don't post a lot of things, but I'm there, and it's sort of part of who I am. And some people want that also, that they want musicians who are like, for example, able to market a concert as well, or do certain things to bring audiences and things.
Yes.
So those things are also important for musicians, I think.
Amazing. And I actually wanted to ask you to go a bit deeper in these things of boundaries and social media. And I wanted to ask you, how do you balance creating content for social media and also working as a social media manager, because you manage also other people's account? How do you find the balance with your personal life, and what are some boundaries that are really important for you, if you want to share? If you are enjoying this episode, maybe you would like to go a little deeper. I have 2 new things for you. Now you can book a tarot reading with me, in which we can explore a question or problem you have related to creativity or your life as a musician, artist, and creative, starting from just 25 euros. For more information and to schedule your reading, go to the link in the description. And now we are launching the podcast membership, the Cafecito Off Topic, a private support community where we reflect together and do co-working sessions. In addition, there you will get an extra essay or article per month, which you can read or you can also listen to as if it were another podcast episode. And finally, you also receive a 10% discount on all the tarot readings. The Cafecito Off Topic is a space to disconnect from the voracity of social media and make room for your ideas and your creativity. All this for only 12 euros a month. For more information and to join, go to the link in the description.
One of my biggest assets as a person, or as a social media manager as well, is speed. So I'm quick. I can do things quickly. I know for a lot of people it takes ages to edit videos or something. I can do it quickly, and that's always been my kind of thing that I can do. I can manage big things quickly, and I can organize things quite nicely without it taking a long time. And that's a thing that helps me a lot. About personal boundaries, I have certain things that I don't want to show online. Like, for example, my child. I don't mind if she's like her back of her head is like in some video or something. Like it's not that I don't want her to be online at all, but it's just not part of the topics that I talk about. I might talk about being a parent, but I don't talk about my child as such. That's like one example. And then I feel like I have created myself such like clear sort of themes that I am happy to post about, and which are relevant to my account, that I kind of try to stick to those. And then the content creation becomes much more simple, because then I don't think about it ever. Like I mentioned, today I'm doing a my day, so I'm like filming my whole day, like what I do in a day. But that's just one day in like 6 months. I don't do them very often. So when I'm just living my life, I don't really think about content creation. Obviously, if I'm doing content for a client or filming for someone or whatever, then it's a different story. But I feel like I have quite a healthy, balanced relationship now with social media. It varies. Sometimes I spend way too much time on there, but I feel like now I found that like good rhythm of like when it's offline time and online time. So
That's
I
nice.
guess it takes a bit of practice, I guess, and
Yes.
also boundaries for yourself. Like I have a timer on Instagram, like whenever I've used it for 2 hours a day, which is a long time anyway, but that's my timer, 2 hours, and then it says, okay, time's up. And now I try to, like I said in the beginning of the episode, that I'm trying to read more. So I try to like grab a book or something instead of like scrolling endlessly.
Yeah. So cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, for me also, like, I don't have a lot of boundaries, but there is only one that is really important for me. That is when I'm doing something that is more like personal enjoyment, like holidays, going out with friends, going on a date with my partner. I don't share it on social media unless it's relevant in any way to what I do or my brand. For instance, I shared a bit about some concerts I went to this summer because that made me think about my own career and that gave me some insight, and I shared a bit about that. But generally speaking, I don't really share my personal moments. And it's not because I don't want to share them, but it's more because when I am in those moments, I don't want to be thinking about taking pictures and filming. I want to really be present. And that's a boundary that really helps me a lot. So that's one for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And also for me, almost all those personal moments include that my child is there with me.
Yeah.
So I also don't want to sort of film those moments and then ask her to like go away or something like that. I would find that very strange. I would find it super strange. So yeah, like you said, you want to like live in those moments. Sometimes I might do like you mentioned, if I do go to like culture events like concerts or cinema or whatever, theater,
Yeah.
circus, I might take like one picture or something and then to like mention it that I went to this thing, but not really make those like a huge part of my sort of strategy, at least at the moment.
Yes. Amazing. And what would you say to the artists and the musicians that are listening to us? What could be those first steps? You already said a bit about that. You talked about defining a bit your topics and the type of content you want to create. But besides that, what would be some steps that they can take if they want to show up more online?
I think one of the biggest things is to make it really clear to yourself, like why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Are you doing it for, like, what is the goal? Do you want people to visit your website more and see what's there, what you're offering? Do you want people just to like kind of follow your daily life? Do you want to have more like an influencer presence where you're like your whole life becomes that inspiration for others to maybe start going to concerts more, or start working on some piece that you're practicing? Or is it more just to have sort of like a business card or information channel where you have like everything there for those who already are in your inner circle, like just to really understand why you're doing it, and if your reason is clear to you, that this is why I'm doing this, I feel like that already like sets a good tone for your content, that okay, there's a reason why I'm doing this. It's not just for, like I said in the beginning, that I wanted to really feel like all my posts, especially in the beginning, had a lot of value for musicians. So they learned something, or they got inspired about something, or there was a story there that could inspire or explain something, you know. So that for a long time was my why. It's like, I want to help. I think it's
Yeah.
changed a little bit over the years. Now I have maybe more business savvy ideas, like I want people to visit my website, or I want people to, you know, get think of me first when they need someone for this kind of jobs that I do. So I have a different kind of approach now. But I think in the beginning, it's good to kind of pick that kind of reason that you can kind of really be committed to, that, okay, this is important to me. I'm going to do that because of this.
Yes, very, very important. Also, give me a bit to think about. I will do a bit. Yeah, I have it kind of clear because I think, for example, for me right now, I love using Instagram to connect with people, like mainly as a networking tool. And I want to send people to my newsletter. And I think I should do a bit more work to make clear that people, if they want to hear more about me, they should go to the newsletter. So this is something I am working on right now. But yeah, I think that's a good start point. So thank you for sharing. And the last thing I wanted to ask you before going to the last session of the episode is, are there any people that inspire you or influence you right now in your journey?
Oh my God, so many.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, I really get inspired by freelance musicians who create their own career, who build everything themselves and build beautiful things. And I get really inspired by my friends and colleagues who are around me. I really love a few Instagram accounts at the moment. One of them is Teatro, alla Flopera, who is an anonymous poster who post about the kind of the darker sides of opera world and comments very boldly about things that are happening and what kind of change they would like, and it's a very, very nice account. I enjoy their content a lot. Another account that I always have, another podcast and account that I always have enjoyed is Thrilled to Announce podcast, and they also do amazing memes. Like, my memes are complete baby memes compared to this. They're like super, super layered. Another opera related account as well, actually. Somehow, I mean, I love going to the opera as well, but these opera Instagram accounts have been very inspiring to me. And yeah, those kind of accounts. Then I really enjoy also watching just people show their sort of practice progress and daily lives. And I always enjoy watching the progress. Like, I always say that I enjoy going to concerts for the music and the live experience. And on Instagram, I don't really listen to music as such. I like to see kind of more the behind the scenes things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool. Thank you very much. So yeah, before we wrap up, I have a couple of dynamics to do with the guests. And the first
Yes.
one is I have a series of questions that are inspired by the Proust questionnaire, that is a series of questions made by the writer Marcel Proust to get to know people better. So I will ask you to pick 3 numbers from 1 to 24, and then we reply the questions that are assigned to those numbers.
Okay.
Yes.
So my numbers are 7, 13, and 22.
So 7, 13, and 22. Okay, 7. What does your idea of happiness look like unfiltered?
Completely free day, no plans, good breakfast, spending time with family, sunshine, but cold weather, not hot weather. Cold weather with sunshine, lots of good food, and a few Aperol spritz.
Amazing, love it. 13, which book marked you forever?
Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights. Cool. And 22, if you could steal a talent from nature, what would it be?
From nature. I would have that like natural calmness of trusting the process. So if you become a flower from a seed, like I would have that ability to just stay present in that constant change.
That's very beautiful. This is the first time this question appears on the podcast. So,
Oh, really?
yes, the 22.
That's nice.
Which talent will I steal from nature? I have to think about it. You know what I love? I love the trees, the fact that they are connected under the earth with other trees, and even if we cannot see it on the surface. And I would love to be part of a community like this, in the sense that we are all connected and we are all supporting each other, even if you cannot see it. So that would be the talent I will steal from nature.
That's really nice. But I feel like you already have that talent, though.
I don't know. I work a lot on that. It's a big priority in my life. So. Amazing. Thank you. And second dynamic, I will imagine a situation in which you are disconnected. It's like the typical desert island, but desert island is a bit too extreme. Like it's more like a spiritual retreat where you are disconnected from the world. What are the 3 things that you will take with you?
I would take one book. I wouldn't take a Kindle or anything. I wouldn't cheat. I would take just one book. I can't choose which one. A book that I've not read before, and probably a thick, long one.
Yeah.
I'd read something like Dostoevsky or something like really like heavy that I need to read a few times before I understand it. Then I would bring. I almost surprise myself, but I would take my cello, even though my cello sometimes gets neglected in many ways. But if I would take it, and then I would take a really nice bottle of wine.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And we are basically at the end of the episode. Thank you so much for being here today. And this is your promotion space. So now you can tell us where people can learn more about you. What are you doing right now? Whatever you want to share.
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at AnniGrid. And I have a website, annigrid.com. And you can see there's a little portfolio there where you can see my work. I've created websites for musicians. There's also some examples of clients that I worked with before doing social media workshops and coaching. And at the moment I'm super busy until the end of the year. But I always look for new connections. And next year I hope that I will be launching some like online programs and online workshops that you can also purchase from my website. So if you're listening in 2026, you might already find it there.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And when I know that there are musician friends that they need to redo their website or they need some help with social media, I always recommend you. And if I ever, I just don't have the budget right now, but when I will, probably I will ask you for some help for my off-topic project in the future. So,
Yes, that sounds great. It was really, really nice to connect with you and meet finally in person. Let's call it in person.
Kind of in person. Hopefully we will meet like in person at some time.
That will be very nice too. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anni.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And also for the listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Maria Alejandra Off Topic. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And remember that Off Topic is a bigger platform. Find articles, essays, and the newsletter on the website mariaalejandrajimenez.com. And if you want to be part of the brand new online community El Cafecito Off Topic, you can go to the link in the description. I never know how to say this link. It's in the description. And there you can also buy me a coffee if you want to support this project. And if you like this episode, share it with your favorite people, subscribe on your audio platform, and leave a rating. It's the best way to support this project, and it's for free. So, yes, I would really appreciate it. And that's it for today. We will meet again very soon for more off-topic conversations. Bye!